How do guys, welcome back to Edgar TV. If you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button because I do this after every single big TV event, before and after we look at the rankings of how it's going to change, how it's going to be affected, who's defending big money, who's got things to lose. And we did see before this, like, the players that are not informed, the likes of Van Gerwen, Nathan Aspinall, Gerwin Price, defending big money, but yet not in form, and we thought that this may be the case, and we have had players completely come off the pace and do well. Luke Humphries was defending nothing. He went out the first round a couple of years ago, so defending nothing in his prize funds. Again, I'll talk you through everything you need to know. So if you do find it useful at any point, go down, hit that red button, be subscribed to Edgar TV. Let's take a look at what we've seen. Adrian Lewis weren't in this event as he hasn't been in many events. He drops down another 12 places. All the beneficiaries purely going up on the basis that Adrian Lewis not in the event. Now, with these players, they're all going to need good runs to get in the top 64. People like Conoscut and Plazier will lose their money off of here if they don't make the 64. Some of these, like Graham Hall, Monk, Robert Owen, would lose their cards. So they're all just affected purely on the Adrian Lewis factor. There's a few other little movements around, as you can see here as we go up the rankings, but nothing really too significant. The first real significant point is right here, around those low 30s. Madars Razma and Martin Lutman 2 years ago reached the quarter-final stage, and they was defending that prize money this time round. Couple of people going at one position purely because of that drop of Razma and Lutman losing the quarterfinals now on their order of merit, but Ed House and Menzies was in this event, so they benefit of gaining onto their rankings. Menzies, someone I think if he can find his game onto the TV, we will see him in the top 32, but at the moment not quite there. Jose de Sousa, someone I don't think is going to be in the top 32 again. I've been saying all the way through this, I do feel that Jose de Sousa is in trouble of losing his tour card next year. He's going to have a big year. He's sort of going that same way of like what we saw with Sulovic, what we saw with Ian White, Mervyn King, where they need a strong year after a bad one this year, or he needs to use these qualifiers, Grand Slam of Darts, World Championship qualifiers, things like that, because if he's not in those, he's going to lose even more money. He's going to plummet down the rankings. He's already out the 32. He's getting further and further away from being in that position. No doubt whatsoever, though, regards to the big story of the Grand Prix, and that is the Grand Prix champion Mike Dedecker. Kicked off the tournament, he had 199,000 for being in the first round. He actually went on to win the event, bumping him up to £311,000. Now, what this is going to do is quite a few things. First of all, we've now got to consider him for a couple of things. He's now going to be in the Belgian team. He's going to overtake Kim Huybrechts by quite some distance where he's not going to be caught. He is also defending just £30,000 at the back end of the year, of which he's got £30,500 guaranteed from 4 big TV tournaments that he's going to be in. That is the Players' Championship Finals, the Grand Slam, the European Championships and the Worlds, for which he is now seeded. Being in the top 32 is massive. Gets you that seeding position in the World Championship. Gives you an easier draw, guaranteed £15,000. So lots of things now are bonus for Mike Dedecker. And we've also got to consider him now in the Premier League conversation. He's got to be in the conversation. He's a major winner, and no winner of a Sky broadcasted event has never not been in the Premier League. Other than for Gerwin Price, for example, who missed out due to illness, and Taylor, who won the match play and then didn't want to continue playing darts a year after. So we've got to consider Dedecker for a few things. One thing now, though, we can be sure of is his world ranking position. Number 25, and he's not defending hardly anything. That £30,000 up for grabs. He is not far away from the top 16 cut off at the moment, which you'll see Danny up at 417. So he's only 100,000 off with 3 hits to go. So nothing really for him to worry about. Ryan Joyce moving back into the top due to that semi-final run. He goes back into the top 32. Petretsko, Scott Williams, they come out at the expense of that. Gabriel Clemens is someone who you've got to keep an eye on as being in a bit of danger. He's defending a semi-final at the upcoming World Championship. He's one to keep an eye on. Daryl Gurney, one to keep an eye on for going the other way. I think he's going to go up. winning more games now than when he was winning major titles in 2017, 2018. Keep an eye on Gurney. Gary Anderson, statistically the best player in the world. He jumps up 2 places. He looks like he's going back towards the top 16. I also think Ryan Searle and James Wade will move towards the top 16, despite the fact that Searle's dropped down 1 here. Not defending a lot at the back end of the year, as is James Wade, while he's got people ahead of him, the likes of Peter Wright, for example, defending good prize money at the back end of the year. And I do think this is the key thing. What people are defending against what they're not. Michael Smith, world number 2. He's likely to come out the top 16 unless he has a deep run somewhere. He could be in a bit of bother. So we could see a big changing of the guard here. Keep a listen out for these 3 names. Damon Heta, Dave Chisnell, Stephen Bunting. All 3 of those players defending hardly anything at the back end of this year. And if they have a deep run, they could get themselves towards that top 4. Remember, players like Smith are going to be defending big money at the back end of the year. So the players above them are going to be dropping down. Aspinall's just lost some places because he's lost £60,000 off the back of reaching the final of this a couple of years ago. So the players that are defending big that was doing well 2 years ago aren't quite in the same sort of form now. I wouldn't be surprised to see either Stephen Bunting, Damon Heta, or Dave Chisnell. In fact, I'm going to say I wouldn't be surprised to see 2 out of 3 of those in the Premier League this year. Do make sure you hit that subscribe button because I will be doing my predictions. I always do it this time of year just to see how close we get. What's it feel like before major season? Who do we think is going to win the Premier League? And then at the end of major season, who do we think is going to be? Because there's a lot of darts to play before we get into that. Which is why, look at Luke Humphries at the top. You take off £1 million off Luke Humphries and he's still in the top 4. That's how good Luke Humphries has been over the last 18 months or so. I think he's going to break that £2 million boundary in regards to his ranking. So there's going to be a lot of change in that top 16, in those top positions. Now, they do have rewards for different positions. Top 4 Premier League, top 8 you get seeded for the Grand Prix, top 16 you're in the match play and the Grand Prix guaranteed, top 32 you get seeding for the World Championships. We don't know what the Masters is going to be as of yet, so there is lots of extra bonuses and perks depending where you are in the rankings, which is why these videos are so important, because I will find all those key talking points and stories. Who's the players to keep an eye on, who's the informed guys, who's moving up, who's moving down. I'll let you know everything you need to know. But this one really should all be about Mike de Decker. He's gone from outside the top 32 to now being in a position where we've got to talk about potential Premier League and top 16. That top 16 is going to get decimated over the next few months. Make sure you subscribe. Catch you soon. Some more Edgar TV.